I'm back. Hey, this is Chandra, your disabled bestie. It's been a while since I've last posted. You may have noticed I abruptly stopped at posting. I filmed the first season while I was still living in Kentucky. I started recording the second season when I relocated to Jacksonville, Florida, where I still reside today. The main reason was financial. The money for the monthly subscriptions, the clothes, the set, and the list goes on. This became untenable when my financial responsibilities went up by $1,300 a month. The secondary reason was a lack of space in my home to set up my background for filming. So, this is why I paused the mission. Now, let me catch you up with what's been going on with me for the last 3 years. Out of sheer boredom, I started to volunteer with the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI. I volunteer for them in several capacities. I was a co moderator for their support groups. I gave presentations detailing all of NAMI's offerings and services, as well as my personal journey navigating depression and anxiety. I also was an ambassador for a new program aimed to deal with the unique nuances of mental illness in the African American community. I volunteered with them so much, I was honored to be the NAMI Jacksonville's 2024 Volunteer of the Year. Completely falling in love with the mental health field, I decided to attend Bradley University to get my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. The program is very rigorous but rewarding. It's fascinating to learn about different psychological theories and the brain chemistry that influences mental health. I only have 1 year accomplished, and it's a 3 year program, so I have a ways to go. Then, after I finish the curriculum, I must accrue 1,500 hours of face to face client counseling and 100 hours of supervision while rendering counseling services. Then, after this, I must take and pass the National Clinical Mental Health Examination. Additionally, Florida mandates that all aspiring counselors must take board approved courses specializing in the laws and rules, an HIV and AIDS course, and lastly, a course on domestic violence. Needless to say, I have a long road ahead of me. On a heavier note, I lost both of my parents 10 months apart. My father died December 2023. I decided not to go back to my hometown of Detroit to attend his funeral. The relationship with my father was strained, if I'm being idealistic. My father had no role in my upbringing, and when I finally met him at 12, he became addicted to crack cocaine at the time. So he was not present in my life. I communicated with my younger sister, who was charged with all the responsibilities of his burial. I told her that I will not be financially contributing to any of his final expenses, and I will not be traveling from Jacksonville to Detroit for the service. She understood and graciously opted to have the funeral streamed on YouTube. There are two reasons why I didn't go to my father's funeral. One, I was not going to spend money on a flight, rental car, and a hotel to see my deadbeat dad get buried. The second reason is that my mother came from Kentucky to Jacksonville to live with me. 2 days before I was to drive to Kentucky to get her, she was admitted to the emergency room for exhibiting odd behavior. At this time, our family was notified by medical staff that my mother had a malignant tumor in her sinus cavity, pressing against her eye, causing double vision. Suddenly, I was thrusted in a caregiver role. Around the time of my father's death, we found out that my mother's cancer was very aggressive and she only had 2 years to live. Well, she only survived for 10 months, dying in October 2024. The very next month, I had a full knee replacement surgery because I had no cartilage in my left knee. I was bone on bone. All the time I served as a caregiver for my mother and had a knee replacement surgery, I was a full time graduate student. I finished the semester strong. I enrolled in classes for the winter semester, but I was still fresh in my grieving process and my head was not in the game. So I dropped my classes, thinking that a 2-month break would serve me well. Then I enrolled in the summer semester and performed dismally. I underestimated the toll grief takes on your overall functioning. I decided to take time off from school until I felt my heart that I was ready again. I'm ready again. Classes start August 26th. I also have moved a few months ago. Moving is such a hassle, but I ultimately moved for my safety. Not knowing much about Jacksonville before I moved here, I rented a house in the most dangerous area of Jacksonville. You can Google that, and my old zip code would show up. Besides the noise, as I was off of a busy street and across the street from a store, and the police activity and the gunfire, I really had no personal problems here. Mind you, I grew up on the northeast side of Detroit, so this was not foreign to me. And when I first moved to Chicago, I lived in the hood. So I know how to navigate in unideal environments. Until there was one day. I was in my bedroom and I heard gunfire. Not abnormal. But a half hour later, I get a knock on my front door. I answered it. It was a uniformed policeman. He asked if I had any ring cam footage. I told him that I did not. I then asked if this was related to the gunshots I just heard. He nodded and proceeded to tell me that two stray bullets struck my house. Then he pointed out the two bullet holes. At that moment, I was resolved to leave that neighborhood. So I was fortunate to find a lovely 3-bedroom home sitting on an acre of land on the other side of town. It is spacious, quiet, in a subdivision where I can safely ride my tricycle and the neighbors are nice. There are a couple of significant changes you will experiencing when viewing my so-called Disabled Life YouTube channel. The first is the scenery. In the first season, I used a backdrop seated behind a desk speaking into a microphone. This certainly is a nod to my years spent working as a journalist. The second season, I used a backdrop, a chair, and a microphone. Now, the scenery will be different aspects of my home, which is adorned with colorful abstract art my mother painted as her passion hobby. I like to surround myself with her creativity and inspiration, hoping that it will rub off on me. The second biggest change is that I will share with you more candidly and vividly about my so called disabled life. I won't just continue to tell you what happened to me to become disabled. I will also share with you my life managing multiple disabilities. I want to offer reassurance to the disabled who has experienced similar circumstances, and I want to enlighten the able-bodied community as to what life demands from your body, mental health, finances, and time when you're disabled. So that's a quick summary of what I have been up to for the last 3 years and what you can expect from here on out. Be sure to tune in as a new video will be posted every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, join the newly formed Facebook group, Live Your Best Disabled Life, to continue the conversation. This is your disabled bestie, Chandra, bidding you a wonderful week. Bye.